Listen to me closely, because I am only going to say this once, and I need you to be wide awake for it. Look around you. Look at your friends, look at your coworkers, look at the people scrolling endlessly through their phones on the subway. What do you see? You see panic masked as celebration. You see desperation dressed up in satin and lace. Let me paint a picture for you that is going to make your stomach turn because it is so incredibly real that you have probably lived it, or you are about to walk right into the slaughterhouse voluntarily. Imagine a Saturday afternoon in June. The humidity is rising. You are standing in a manicured garden that costs $5,000 to rent for 4 hours. There are rows of white wooden chairs that cost $10 a piece to rent. There is an archway covered in flowers that will be dead by tomorrow morning, and those flowers cost more than the down payment on your first car. You are sweating in a tuxedo or a dress that was marked up 600% because it has the word wedding attached to the label, and you look out at the crowd. Who are these people? Half of them you haven't spoken to in 5 years. There is your cousin who you hate. There is your college roommate who is only there for the open bar. There are your parents' friends who are judging the centerpiece. And you are standing there forcing a smile, terrified, not because of the commitment you are making to another human being, but because you know deep down in your gut where the anxiety lives that you cannot afford any of this. You are performing. You are an actor in a play written by the system, directed by the banks and produced by a $60 billion industry that hates your freedom. You think this is about love. You think this is about romance. Wake up. You are a rat in a maze, and the cheese at the end of this particular maze is poisoned. The American wedding industry is not designed to celebrate your union. It is designed to bankrupt you before you even have a chance to build a life. It is the first great filter of the middle class, the first massive financial mistake that ensures you stay trapped in the rat race for the next decade. They get you while you are young, they get you while you are emotional, and they get you while you are desperate for social validation. Let's dissect this beast. Let's tear it apart bone by bone so you can see the rot underneath. The average wedding in the United States costs roughly $30,000. In major cities like New York or San Francisco, you are looking at $50,000, $60,000, easily $70,000. Now, let's look at the average savings of an American under the age of 35. It is pathetic. Most people cannot cover a $1,000 emergency, so where does this money come from? How do two young people just starting their careers, drowning in student loans, trying to navigate an inflated housing market, suddenly come up with $40,000 to blow on a 6-hour party? You know the answer. I know the answer. It comes from the most toxic leverage imaginable. It comes from credit cards with 25% interest rates. It comes from personal loans. It comes from begging parents who should be saving for their own retirement, but are instead guilt-tripped into financing this charade. This is the matrix operating at peak efficiency. The system needs you to be in debt. A debt-free human is hard to control. A debt-free human can say no to a bad boss. A debt-free human can take risks, start businesses, and build real wealth. But a human who starts their marriage $50,000 in the hole? That is a compliance slave. That is a rat who will run on the wheel until their heart explodes. You are putting on a golden chain, locking it around your neck, and handing the key to Visa and MasterCard, all so you can have pretty photos to post on Instagram for people who do not care about you. Let's talk about the ring. The engagement ring. This is the greatest marketing scam in the history of capitalism, and you fell for it. Do you know why you buy a diamond? Do you think it is an ancient tradition going back thousands of years? Wrong. It is an invention of the De Beers Diamond Cartel from the 1930s. Before that, nobody cared about diamond engagement rings. But they had a supply glut, so they hired an ad agency to convince the world that a diamond is forever. They invented the rule that a man should spend 2 months' salary on a ring. Think about the arrogance of that. A corporate entity, sitting in a boardroom, decided that you, the working class rat, need to take 16% of your annual labor and hand it over to them for a shiny rock that has zero intrinsic value. You cannot resell that ring for what you paid. It is not an asset. It is a liability. It is a burning pile of cash. If you spend $5,000 on a ring, you are not showing love. You are showing obedience to a marketing campaign. You are proving that you are a good little consumer who does exactly what the television tells them to do. And the industry knows this. They prey on your insecurity. They weaponize the word cheap. If you try to save money, they call you cheap. If you don't have an open bar with premium liquor, they whisper that you are struggling. They have created a culture where financial irresponsibility is praised as generosity. This is the psychology of the premium poor. You want to look like royalty for one day, even if it means living like a peasant for 5 years. You see the bridezilla screaming about the shade of the napkins, not realizing that those napkins are driving her future family into insolvency. It is a mental illness. It is a collective hallucination. Now I am going to hit you with the cold, hard, cruel mathematics of this, the kind of napkin math that should make you angry enough to punch a wall. Let's say you are the average American couple. You spend $35,000 on a wedding. You put it on credit cards because you don't have the cash. Let's be generous and say you manage to pay it off over 5 years at 20% interest. Do you know what you actually paid? You paid nearly $55,000 for a party, for chicken that was dry and a DJ who played the electric slide. But here is the real cost. The cost isn't just the money you spent. It is the money you lost. This is the opportunity cost that keeps the poor poor and the rich rich. If you had taken that $35,000 and, instead of feeding 100 ungrateful guests, you had invested it in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund with an average return of 8 to 10%, and you let that sit for 30 years, do you know what you would have? Without adding another penny, you would have roughly $350,000. That one day, that one party, cost you $250,000 in your retirement. Was the cake worth $350,000? Was the videographer worth $350,000? Of course not. But you don't think like an investor. You think like a consumer. You think like a rat. You are trading your future freedom for a momentary dopamine hit today. The wedding industrial complex is a hydra with many heads. It is the florists who charge you triple the price for roses because they know you are emotionally compromised. It is the venues that add service fees, cake cutting fees, corkage fees, breathing air fees. They bleed you dry with a smile. They tell you it is your special day while they pick your pockets. And let's not forget the pre-wedding rituals, the engagement party, the bridal shower, the bachelor party, the bachelorette party in Nashville or Vegas or Miami, where everyone has to spend $2,000 on flights and hotels and matching t-shirts that will end up in a landfill. It is an endless cycle of consumption. You are forcing your friends into debt to celebrate your debt. It is a pyramid scheme of misery. And what happens after the wedding? You come home. The honeymoon is over. The dopamine wears off. And the bills start arriving. You are now a married couple, starting your life together. and there is a $50,000 anchor dragging you down. You fight about money. Did you know that financial stress is the #1 cause of divorce? The irony is palpable. The very industry that claims to celebrate your eternal union is the primary cause of its destruction. You spent so much money celebrating the wedding that you destroyed the marriage. You prioritized the pageant over the partnership. You are a premium poor couple, driving a leased luxury car to a job you hate to pay for a wedding that happened 3 years ago. You need to understand the concept of mental sovereignty. To escape this, you have to kill the part of you that craves approval. You have to kill the part of you that needs to impress your Aunt Linda. Who cares what Aunt Linda thinks? Aunt Linda isn't paying your mortgage. Aunt Linda isn't going to be there when you are staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, wondering how you are going to pay for your child's braces because you are still paying off the reception venue. You have to stop being a slave to the optics. The rich, the truly wealthy, the people who own the system rather than being crushed by it, they don't do this. Look at the real elite. They often have quiet, private ceremonies, or if they do splash out, it is a fraction of their net worth. For them, a $1 million wedding is like you buying a cup of coffee. But for you, it is financial suicide. The system wants you to believe that your worth is tied to your consumption. It tells the bride that she is a princess for a day, but treats her like a dairy cow to be milked for cash. It tells the groom that he is a provider, while stripping him of his ability to provide. You are feeding the beast. You are shoveling your life energy, your time, your blood and sweat into the furnace of the consumer economy. So, what is the alternative? What is the exit from this madness? It requires courage. It requires you to be a savage. It requires you to look your partner in the eye and say, "We are not going to be rats. We are not going to be slaves." The solution is the courthouse. The solution is a backyard barbecue. The solution is eloping to a mountaintop with just a witness and a bottle of champagne. Imagine this scenario. Instead of spending $40,000 on a wedding, you spend $500 on a marriage license and a nice dinner. Then you take that $40,000 and you put it as a down payment on a duplex. You live in one half and rent out the other. Now, instead of a debt payment, you have an asset. You have cash flow. You have started your marriage not as indentured servants to the banks, but as owners of your destiny. That is the difference between the mindset of a rat and the mindset of a sovereign individual. One buys memories on credit, the other buys freedom with cash. You have to be willing to be judged. Your family might whisper. Your friends might ask why you didn't have the big party. Let them talk. Let the sheep baa. While they are stressing over seating charts and flower arrangements, you are looking at your brokerage account growing. While they are returning gifts to pay for the caterer, you are planning your early retirement. You must adopt a philosophy of ruthless essentialism. Ask yourself, what is a marriage? Is it a party? No. It is a legal and spiritual contract between two people to build a life together. Everything else is fluff. Everything else is noise. Everything else is the system trying to extract value from you. Do not let them. Do not give them the satisfaction. Every dollar you refuse to spend on the wedding industrial complex is a brick in the wall of your fortress of solitude. It is a middle finger to the marketers, the bankers, and the influencers who want to keep you poor. I want you to get angry. I want you to look at that bridal magazine and see it for what it is, a catalog of shackles. I want you to look at that diamond commercial and see the lie. They are selling you a fantasy because the reality is too profitable for them to let you see. The reality is that love is free. Commitment is free. Building a life together takes work, not money. The most romantic thing you can do for your partner is not to buy them a giant rock. It is to secure their financial future. It is to ensure that you never have to worry about putting food on the table. That is love. Not a centerpiece. Not a specialized lighting package. Not a photo booth with silly props. If you are currently planning a wedding, stop. Stop right now. Look at the spreadsheet. Look at the total. And ask yourself, does this number represent my values? Or does it represent my fear? Fear of missing out. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being good enough. Kill the fear. Kill the rat inside you that wants to conform. Break the cycle. Be the one couple in your circle that actually makes it. Be the anomaly. This is the pact we are making today. You are going to reject the narrative. You are going to reject the script that has been handed to you since birth. You are going to reclaim your financial dignity. When you see others running off the cliff like lemmings, throwing their future away for a hashtag, you will stand firm. You will watch them with pity, not envy, because you know the truth. You know the game is rigged, and the only way to win is not to play. If you are ready to wake up, if you are ready to step out of the line of financial slaughter cattle, I want you to leave a specific comment below. I want to see who is really listening and who is just background noise. Write the phrase, I choose freedom, not feathers. Write it down. I choose freedom, not feathers. This means you see through the peacocking. You see through the fake display. It means you are choosing the ironclad reality of wealth over the flimsy illusion of status. Do not let the industry guilt you. Do not let your mother-in-law manipulate you. It is your money. It is your life. It is your marriage. Protect it. Defend it. Do not start your journey together in chains. Walk into the courthouse with your head held high. Sign the paper. Kiss your partner. And then go check your bank account and smile because it is full. That is the ultimate victory. That is how you beat the CEO of the wedding industry. That is how you kill the rat. Now get out of my sight and go build an empire, not a party.